good. That was an interesting first 5 seconds. But yeah, welcome to the session. So I see that you are level 250 Kain. That's already good information right off the bat.
Yeah.
So what can I do for you today?
So I mean, I've been meaning to get one of these for a while. I've been playing Maple for I would say like before pirates were even a thing.
Mm-hmm. That's wild. Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, I've been in and out of the game. Recently I've been coming back because a buddy of mine is also playing.
Mm-hmm.
So him and I have been doing bosses. We can clear up to normal Lucid together.
Okay.
I think we've decided to do it without guild skills to see how long that takes. And we're looking about under 20 minutes, maybe about 18, 19 minutes to clear.
Okay. In my head I was guessing like 20, so that's like right on the... Either I got lucky on a guess, or you're like right where you want to be. So
yeah. So my friend and I are trying to get into normal will at this point.
Yep.
You know, in the bossing list, that like it shows normal wills next.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing is, you know, it's kind of difficult. We got through phase 1 and then we just died out on phase 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just the main reason I wanted to do the progression session was to know how feasible it is for like a 2-person party to be doing harder bosses. What it would take. We don't really mind if it takes more than it should. I mean, one thing my friend and I wanted was not to get carried.
Sure.
He wanted us to do it. But at the same time, you know, we have talked like, should we make parties or try and find a party? But then we're like, but I don't want to feel like we get a party and then we just feel like we didn't contribute.
Sure.
That sort of thing. So I thought like, okay, maybe we should just stick with just 2 of us. I mean, we're upgrading to Arcane fairly soon. I think we've cleared it. We've cleared Lucid 5 times. So I got 10 droplets. So I got 10 coins.
Mm-hmm.
So this week we would get our first piece of Arcane.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to know like you know, like if feasibility, and if it is like what type of things we need to like try and get to those bosses.
Yeah, sure. Like the fact that whether or not it's doable or doable, too many vowels in there. Yeah, like probably eventually everything is probably all the way up until like Black Mage. The problem is just like how much time do you want there to be in between every next boss that you can kill, right? You're definitely at a point where you're like at 250 and you still have like a lot of upgrading still that's possible. Probably a lot of Starforcing past 17 if I had to guess, judging by your stat window, right?
Yeah.
Probably a whole bunch of 17
I think
star.
I got a few 18s.
Yeah.
I think I got a few 18s, but nothing past like 19 or 20. I haven't gone there yet.
Because there
the other thing was like,
sure.
Sorry, the other thing was like, since we were moving into Arcane, I figured, you know, should I even upgrade Abso to get to Arcane, or you know what I mean? Because we're already clearing Lucid, right? So I figure,
probably
no matter
not.
what we. Yeah,
no, the upgrading is probably in the Starforcing of the CRA stuff, and then into the fodder that goes into Superior Galax, while you're slowly moving into the Arcane, and then hopefully by the time you have like full Arcane and you have, hopefully by that time all the like the CRA is 21, and then all the fodder stuff hopefully is into 20, maybe also into 21, and then you can maybe circle back. Hopefully you get a weapon drop, by the time you have the full set, etc. And then you can circle back, maybe start thinking about backups, and maybe get your Arcane like up to 19. And then, but before that time, you'll be able to do like do all the hard bosses and stuff. Probably before then, before you need to work on getting the Arcanes past 17. But a lot of that is just going to come from big Starforce gains from 17 to 21. Yeah, because the amount of total weapon attack you're going to be gaining is just massive. Not only your stat is going to go up, like you're going to be looking at both being like 10. Well, I don't know if your friend is like around the same level, but I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, he's 251, I believe, or 252.
Oh, so he's way ahead of you.
Is he? Oh, damn.
No, I'm just joking. No, but like stat-wise, he's also like roughly around the same point. Gear-wise, roughly similar.
He has a bunch of 17. He's going to 18 as well.
Yeah.
We're generally about the same type of progress. I mean, like I don't want to be like I am a guru, but he sort of like follows and sort of like what I've done. He'll be like, okay, let's get sort of like the same thing's getting done.
I
Right?
see. So we're getting like the 2-for-1 in the progression session a little bit as well.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
That's I was like, you know what? Let's get it.
so he's like in the bleachers listening along.
Yeah. He's just like, all right. He's gonna send me a text and he's like, hey, ask this.
No, that's fine. That's fine. We gotta get the group raid going. No. Yeah. So all of that stuff is going to be possible. Yeah. It just depends on like how big the jump is going to be between the bosses. It's just going to keep increasing as you go, which you've probably already noticed going, from doing CRA to doing Lotus and Damien to doing Lucid. Did you guys make the jump from easy Lucid as well and then into normal, or did you guys straight go from normal?
Yes, we did. So like essentially what we were doing is like following basically the guide. Like it said, all right, this is our next boss. All right,
so
we
easy,
killed it.
slime, normal.
Yeah. Then we're like killing it. We're killing it. What I told my friend is like, let's ensure that we're able to kill it. So like, let's go 5 weeks and killing it. If we do, then all right, we're done. We're gonna continue that. If we end up like dying out, we'll try again. But sort of a thing where like let's keep a roll going. Where clear, right?
Yep, for sure. And then also, well, you can also see if there's just improvement in speed, even if you're not really upgrading, because that's hopefully what you'll see, because you'll just get more used to the mechanics, your timings on the binds and everything. What class is your friend, by the way?
He's an Adele.
Okay. Well, it's also good to know, because some classes will maybe have synergies better than other classes, right? And then it might be a little bit easier to get through certain situations.
He's my binder. I tell him like, all right, I'm taking off to bind. You're binding.
Yeah.
Don't miss your bind.
Yeah, because we're both fucked. Yeah, it's on you, babe. Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah, that can give you some extra space in the matrix, which the earlier in the game you are, the more valuable that extra slot can be. Throw another burst skill in there. When you guys did Will, how like you mentioned you died out in phase 2, right? Like, how many lives did you have going into phase 2? Did you fail a lot of phase 1 tests? Like, how did that go?
So for phase so essentially we went into practice modes, trying to like get going into it. Like I told him, don't use link skills. I mean, sorry, not link skills. Don't use guild skills. Yeah. Like we're just going in practice, right? Let's see how we do, right? What I found was with my burst, I'm almost like, since there's like 2 dimensions, right? There's like the blue and red one. I told my friend, all right, when we get in there, we're gonna separate. So you go in one, I go in the other. With my burst in the beginning, I was almost able to clear the first like bar thing, almost until like he goes to the test mode.
Yep.
My friend, he gets about halfway, so his damage is lower than mine. But I got into phase 2 with about 6 lives. My friend got in with 4. It seems like the tornado was killing him more than anything. For me, it was a screen crack because he wasn't warning me. So.
Oh, right. So there is, there's for both of that, there's some stuff that we can do. One of them is definitely practice in the sense, and you want to be able to, more so than Lucid, doing normal Will is a really good practice for hard Will in the sense of learning the mechanics. For Lucid, it's more like you just get to a certain point where you're strong enough and then you just move on. You want to see Will more like the Lotus and see Lucid more like the Damien, where the mechanics don't really change at all. You just need more damage and you just nuke it down, basically. If you're moving from normal to hard Damien.
I saw that because when we moved from easy Lucid to normal Lucid, the golems was wrecking us. So we're like, all right, we need more damage because these golems are starting to pile up. Can't get rid of
the skills hit a little bit harder and the golems get more annoying, but once you get those out of the way, it's the same boss again, just a little bit higher HP. But when you're going from like from normal Lotus to hard Lotus, there's like a lot more stuff dropping and everything, and you need to be way more careful, and the stuff hits harder. And the same thing with Will is that the stuff hits harder, not that much, but the main thing is that your Moonlight gathering goes way down in hard. So it becomes way more a thing of positioning. So positioning in phase 1 is super, super important. You want to make sure that you kind of treat him like Magnus in a sense that you stay in the middle of the map. So that if he teleports on top of where you're standing, right? So your idea was a good one, that if you split up, that way that you can always know where he's teleporting, because he's teleporting to where you're standing. But if you get pushed into the corner, or you jump into the corner, he goes into the corner, and then if he puts out one of those tornadoes, the whole map is a danger zone. But if you stay close to him, keep your animations down, and you look at his animation, it'll be like when he's touching his glasses, he'll close his eyes and it'll turn red. That's when you know he's shooting out the tornado, and then you can just jump behind him. And then, right after, you can just jump back and then keep him in the middle.
Fair enough. So that tornado kills both maps, yeah? Like
no, both maps have like a separate will that does separate tornadoes in separate directions, completely separate. Yeah.
Okay.
It is possible though that you switch into a tornado from the other side, but you should have a short amount of invulnerability as you switch over. And then the second thing you mentioned with the map cracks, whenever there is a test starting, there will be a banner in the map in the middle that says that there is an eye. Basically, the test is going to be starting, and then if you don't see the eye, you switch to the other one. So you don't necessarily need the call out anymore. But that might be one of the many things that you have to look out for. So it's an easy thing to miss. But as you get better at the positioning, so the other thing that I will tell you about, like the positioning, as soon as you get hit, your moonlight recovery gets paused, right? So you want to get hit by as few things as possible. The little pink things that hit you. I don't think it's in normal, but I think it's in hard. It actually gives you negative. So not only does it pause, but it gives you negative moonlight. So the more things you dodge, the better. So sometimes just
so we
ducking
need to
down.
Dodge more, because I was just taking everything. I was like, give it all. Like, let's keep going.
Yeah, and that's like kind of like the benefit of the easier difficulties. Because if you did easy lucid, you could kind of tank everything as well. You could probably even tank the dragon breath and just heal through it.
Yep.
But that doesn't fly anymore in normal, and definitely not in hard. So it's sometimes it's good to get like acquainted with the mechanics, but you don't want to underestimate them in the higher difficulty, because then you'll be like, oh, why are we getting destroyed? Well, but it helps you kind of take like 2 or 3 mechanics off of the chessboard, right? And then you move on to the higher difficulty, and now you deal with the next 3. But now some of them are already stuff that you know the rhythm of, you know how to respond to it. So it's not an extra variable you have to take into account. And the same thing will happen with the will boss fight. The main variable change from normal to hard is that your positioning just becomes so much more important, because that moonlight is going to replenish very slowly. To give you an example, like for the first test is after like 1 minute and 10 seconds, right? The first one is very quick. If you don't have a lot of damage, you probably don't want to go in with your burst in the first phase for hard will, because you won't be able to get the bars down anyway. So it's better to just get them down like halfway, get them down the second half, and then have all of your burst available for the beginning of the second test, or the third part basically, and then try to get the whole bars down, and then do what's called a 2-1-2 basically, where you do 2 tests for the first part, 1 part for the second part of the HP bar, and then 2 tests again for the last one, so that you have all of your skills back, so you have everything available to nuke him in phase 2 in the beginning. That you give yourself time for your cooldowns to come back. So like the meta for like hard will is more like, when do we burst and who bursts where, to make sure that we can get through the boss fight, because you have those time gates, right? And that already makes the boss fight long. But then if you miscalculate, it makes it even longer, and then you can get into real trouble into phase 3 if you don't have enough damage. And that's going to be probably the hardest part about doing will with a duo, is that you're going to have to do it quickly, or be like super efficient, because you'll only have 2 people in the last phase to clear the webs, which means that the map will start filling up with webs pretty quickly, and if you walk through them, you get sealed, and then you can use any skills for a while. So you're positioning around the boss to make sure you don't get pushed into the webs, and always dodging, so your moonlight keeps generating. That's going to be very important to make sure that you can kill the phase 3. Phase 1 is really just positioning, calling out for the test if you see it, but like making sure that you have both HP bars down equally. Phase 2 is all about, again, staying in the middle. You'll get pushed to the side. If you're a little bit too far from the side, you get pushed on top of the webs. That's probably happened once or twice to you in that run, right?
We never got to phase 3.
Oh, you got to phase 2. I thought you got to.
Yeah, we got to phase 2, and we
I'm talking about phase 2, right? Where you pushed, and then there's the webs in the mirror, like you see the reflection.
I know about them, like at the corners. Yeah, we never got to. We just died out real quick, because I forgot to mention, or basically it's my fault too. I forgot to mention to him that we don't get HP. Like we have to use moonlight in order to heal at that point.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we just weren't healing, and I forgot as well. And I was just like, why am I not healing? I died.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that'll get you down real quick. Yeah. And on top of that, like the legs hitting you, and the positioning is so important for phase 2, because you can stand like in between the spawn location of 2 legs, and then 2 of them can hit you at the same time, and both of their damage apply. and that'll get your
Oh,
HP down real quick. So
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
and there's some
That's what happened with us there.
yeah, no doubt. Have you seen the little scratch like mini games that exist? I've shown these before. I think it's under stream guide boss. There's a few things that somebody made for Will for like practice. I'll send you these links.
Okay.
You can share them with your friend. It's basically just little mini games that someone made that can help you kind of. It's like a simulation basically of the boss fight. So you can just kind of try to take that one thing out of the equation and practice that a little bit. And then hopefully you'll get better at, or have more like brain power to just do all the other stuff that needs to be done. Because, yeah, Lucid has a lot of stuff going on, but it's pretty linear. But like Will seems to have a lot of stuff that's interacting with you in different ways going on at the same time, and is the first, I think, really complicated boss. So the more of those things you can kind of take one at a time, the more you'll have to have available brain power for other stuff, basically. So one is more just about the legs, so you can kind of see what is their spacing, how quickly do they hit, where do I need to stand to not get hit, kind of thing. The other one is for phase 2, for the actual tests, because that's probably the hardest part that most people struggle with, on top of like the not being able to heal. And you know, if you practice more, you'll get to phase 2 with way more lives. How are you guys on healing familiars? Because that's a really helpful thing.
Yeah, so I knew about getting the healing familiars. I have my friend only has one. He says he is working, like we're both working on it. I do have two large amount of HP familiars. So they're both epic, but it's two of them that say continuously restores a large amount of HP. So I figured that works for both, right?
Is it to party members or to people nearby, or just restores HP?
It says continually restores a large amount of HP.
Okay, so that's just for you then. That's like a quote-unquote like selfish healer.
Okay.
Your friend won't get any HP from that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I have another one, but I think that's just for him because it says continually restores a large amount of HP to nearby allies. So that's only party, right?
Yeah, that's so to yourself and to the party. Yeah, that's for both.
Oh, that one's for both.
Yeah, there's
allies.
like nearby allies and for party works on both, but technically nearby allies has a slightly shorter range than for party. But a lot of the boss parties, you're kind of just standing really close to each other anyway, so it's fine.
Oh, okay. So I'll put that one in then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are the only 3 HP ones I have. Other than that, I use a 30% IED familiar.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty normal because you mostly only start getting the really good healers once you start making unique familiars, and you know typically by the time you're 250, you don't have a whole bunch of those yet. So that's pretty straightforward. And it's a Xenon monocle you got there.
I know. I was like figuring, should I re-roll this? But I'm like, it's 24% dex. I'm like, all right, I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. Unless you're aiming for 27 at least, but then.
Yeah.
That makes sense. The weapon, I noticed you still have a Fafnir weapon. Is that
so the reason I have that is I've used that weapon since I was like getting into what's it called, Root Abyss stuff, was because like I rolled 70% boss and I was like, I think this is good, right? Like this will help me kill some bosses. And then I was debating on getting I have an Abzo weapon too, but it's not.
Wait, this one's not, 50, right? Do you have a 70 also?
Right? Sorry, is it only? Oh yeah, sorry, 30 and 20. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. It's just I figured, I think this is like the bossing one, right? So I figured I'll just take this one to boss with. I don't really have another weapon because I figured, I think 50% extra boss and some dex is gonna be good.
Yeah, that is good. And then the further you go, the weapon attack gets really nice, especially what I talked about in the beginning, right? When you're talking about getting the Starforcing past 17 and everything just gets so much extra weapon attack, then you can really see the value of the percentage weapon attack lines go up tremendously.
Yeah. So I figured like if I was gonna do that, I was probably gonna move that into the arcane. With arcane, I was gonna switch into getting weapon attack instead of box damage.
Right. So you're trying to see if you can just like skip Abzo through. Through this. Yeah, that will mean it's possible, but that will mean that if you're duoing, there's going to be like a disproportionate amount of pressure on your other pieces and on your partner to be able to make that happen. But it's probably
I see.
possible. But to get if you're trying to get like this weapon to like hard lucid, hard will duos, you're gonna have to have like everything else like damn near perfect, because your weapon is your most impactful piece of damage in your account, right? And the fact that it is, it's not just, you know, the potential, but like potential wise you'll miss something, but like the flame scales to the level of the equip and the base attack, so that's going to lose potential or lose, you know, potential growth there. And the base stats are way lower, you know.
Yeah, I saw that the Abzo, like I did make an Abzo because I was gonna change into it,
Mm-hmm.
but I saw that I'm like I have 70% boss or 50% boss. I'm like that should be fine, right? So
I mean,
did
it is
see that
good, yeah. But you can
I did
basically
that,
see, usually the quality between a line of boss and line of attack is about the same because of how the calculations work. So, but this has a 20%, you know, an old boss damage line, which is unfortunate because that means it's actually a little bit lower probably than an attack line. And Dex does something, but is definitely way lower on a tier than an attack line as well. So this is probably about like a 2-line attack. I would imagine that if you have like a 21% attack or an 18% attack with some Dex or something, that's probably around similar to that, which is really good for Fafnir, of course. But if you're moving into like Abzo, the fact that the percentage attack with the way higher base multiplies, and then the better flame and everything coming in, and then, you know, the all three of the numbers go up, right? You have the white number, the yellow number, and the green or whatever people call it, and then the blue number. Like all of those will go up, and then the total. I don't know by heart what like a 17-star Whisper Shot in attack is, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's at least like 350 or like closer to 400.
So like I said, I did make an Abzo and actually have it at 17. It's plus 94 and the base is 192.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's 32, 12, 42. Yeah, and then the flame would be on a higher tier.
Yeah.
192. But you didn't go too hard on the potential and the flame.
No, because like I was, like I said, I was debating on getting into Abzo, but I decided to just keep the Fafnir.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, what that can yeah, because you'll lose the. I think you're probably also looking at losing the 30% boss from the set bonus, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe that's why you were counting it as 80%
like,
in your head, because 30, 30, 20, right?
Yeah. But then I figured, you know, getting into the Abzo, I'd get an extra 10, I guess, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you are losing that 20% boss. You were getting a little bit. Well, you're losing a little bit of. No, you're gaining a little bit of attack, I believe, right? In the 5-set Absolute bonus.
Yeah. I would get attack, but I would lose like what? I think I'm losing 40% boss if I go into Abzo.
So 37, 32, so it's 60. Oh, 69, nice. 69 extra weapon attack. So it looks like you'll end up at 363, something like that.
Yeah.
And then if you roll percentage attack, you will see like a difference in that. And I think if you're moving into will and you're trying to stay like duoed, it might take a long time until you get the weapon and the other pieces. What you could do, of course, is when you said like, oh, we're gonna get our first arcane piece, you know, because you hit that 12. You could also say like, we're gonna keep pushing and go for 24 and actually just get that arcane weapon on the normal bosses. That's probably possible, and then you can avoid having to spend all that money on the Abzo to make the normal bosses faster. And then from the arcane weapon and upgrading, you know, the other stuff like we talked about, the CRA and foddering into the superior and stuff, then from there get into the part of doing the hard bosses. And then for the hard bosses, it'll probably be a matter of trying to find a bigger party, probably at least a 4-man, but probably people usually start at 6-mans first. But it'll be it'll be possible to do it as a 2-man, but you'll have to be pretty far down the line with extra. You probably want to be at least 260, so you get full bonus damage to hard will and everything. But probably beyond that, you know, get your sacred power rolling, all of that stuff, and you're probably going to be looking at being pretty well north of 40k stat, probably like 45k stat or something like that.
I see. Okay. So if I were to look for parties, what am I like I said, I don't want to feel, or my friend and I don't want to be like, okay, you know, we'll get into a party, but then just be in the party, if you get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say? Like, I would generally be looking for somebody around the same stats as us.
Yeah, if you look around the same stat, then you can never go too crazy, right? Because even, you know, they're going to have around the same level of all the other things as well that are going, so they won't be too out. The only thing that they can really beat you on is like efficiency of applying the damage when they have way better mechanical skill. So
Fair
typically
enough,
you'll just
fair
look for someone around the same stat and like with experience, and as long as you know, with your friend at least made it into phase 3 on will like a few times, you can call yourself like we have, you know, we've tried before, like we've been to phase 3. And then
Yeah.
what's most likely going to happen in phase 3 is the whole map is just going to brick up with with webs, because usually you won't be there with full lives. There's a lot of stuff going on. When you're poisoned, you're switching, you jump out of the way, you get pushed into the corner, web, can't move, like lives will start flying left, right, and center. And also because you have fewer healing familiars, phase 2 is going to be disproportionately harder because you're just not getting as many ticks of healing. So that is one of the reasons why it's not going to be like 2 + 1 = 3, but it's going to be like 2 + 1 = 3.5, and 2 + 2 = 5. You know, like the synergy is going to hardcore kick in there.
Okay.
But yeah, I think normal might be doable, but it might take a while, like I said, with the phase 3. But for hard, it's most likely just going to be like, yeah, you probably want to make parties there. And then if you're strong enough later, you can always scale back and go back to duoing, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and like the other biggest one was, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like my Kain has like 0 crit rate. Like by itself, I feel like its crit rate is like it's not good.
Okay.
Uh,
And
I
you have to
think
get all the other
with
sources, like the hyperstats and...
yeah, I put a 10 into hyperstat.
Mm-hmm.
I have the what's it called? Decent sharp
Sharp
eyes.
eyes, yeah.
I have to put on the so with decent sharp eyes, I would be at 94% crit rate.
Mm-hmm.
And then I apply the Phantom Link because I figure I'm an archer, so I would want to put Vicious Shot in the kit, right?
Yep.
But where would I get more hype, or not more hype? I mean, I know I could get some from Legion, but I also use Legion for the bossing meals, and they don't need any extra crit rate in the Legion, so I feel like I'm weakening them as well if I just put more into it for my Kain.
Yeah, well, yeah, then you would have to buy like even more setups, right? More presets that you can switch between.
So right now I have 2. I have like the bossing one, and then I have the grinding one, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
makes sense.
so
yeah, you're quite burst heavy, so making sure that burst is good. Your boss damage right now is very high, so you'd have to basically throw everything through a specific calculator, really, because you have that vicious shot, and depending on how big of a part of your damage, you know, in your total DPM your burst is, compared to how much extra critical damage are you getting. Your critical damage already looks pretty damn high, right? You're already 109 without the vicious shot, right?
Yeah. And
so
like
is
with
there like a
shot,
diminishing
I think I'm
return?
at 140 something.
Yeah, well, that's vicious shot. That's not even maxed then, right?
Yeah, it's not max. I think it's level 5.
It looks level 8 here. Yeah, so like 13. If it's max, you're getting
13. Yeah.
But yeah, you're getting 50%, right, when it's max. So if your crit goes up to like, I don't know, like 130% or something, and then you're getting an extra 65, so then you're on 174 critical damage during your burst. So there might be diminishing returns there. So there's probably some, you'll get a feel for which crit is kind of free, and then you tap into that. And then the crit that's a little bit more pricey is probably only worth it once you get further into the game, and then because then something that now is a bit more pricey, for example, like moving your boss damage blocks into critical rate, right, in your Legion, that might be an option, that something that you don't really have to do later. Once you get to 8k Legion and you get to put a bunch of extra characters in, you can easily fill out that critical damage and the IED and the boss damage almost like you have right now, but then you'll have a bunch extra, and then that goes into critical rate and gives you that extra critical damage on the burst.
I see. Okay.
If I were to like kind of try to mentally do like the calculations of what is most optimal, you can probably move some of your boss damage now into critical rate. Probably not like all of it, but probably some, because of how much boss damage you have on your weapon, which probably gives you a little bit of diminishing returns on the boss damage, but not too much because of the change to the reboot passive. Right, like your base damage is only 67%. So if that was like 300%, then it would have been more of a no-brainer. But since that part is small, the total still isn't like exceeding like 600% or something. So at that point, you're not seeing too many diminishing returns.
Okay.
So in your inability, you know, there's a lot of boss. I think your Fafnir weapon alone is like 50. Your Fafnir weapon alone is like 110% boss, right? Because of the 30 set and 30 base and 50, and then 17 your inner ability, like that alone is like 127%. Yeah. So. And then once you start adding familiars onto that, right? See what Smilly and Paul are saying, maybe, because they are our resident Kain players. Go for easily obtainable crit, like inner ability and hyper stats, but most high-level Kains don't take the Phantom Link. Okay. Is that because of like diminishing returns, Smilly? On the... actually, might they take it now because they don't need the Mihail Link anymore? Would it like squeeze into the top 12 with that change, maybe, Smidley? That's possible.
Well, I never even used the Mihail link.
Flat damage is still better? Okay. And that's another thing, you know, when it specifically comes to like, you know, how much critical rate, critical damage do you go to and how you play specifically class, you can get a lot of good value from just people who are constantly playing the class all day, right? So I don't know if you guys are in the like class discords for your respective classes.
No, I don't really use Discord that often.
Okay.
And I don't know if my friend does. He might. I don't know.
Wait, how do you guys game together? Are you like in a gaming house, like two PCs?
Like I know him, so I call him on the phone.
Oh shit, okay. On the phone.
Yeah. So
Discord is very useful for gamers. So you can just like log in and then be on your computer with your headset, and then you don't have to like rake up your phone bill, you know, or like drain your phone battery.
It's all good. It's all good.
Well, the extra benefit is that you could just have access to like 20, 30 people who are playing your class day in, day out. And you can be like, hey, I'm doing this. Because I can give you general will tips, but they can maybe say like, oh, if you're in a Kain and you're in this position, you can very easily do this one thing. And then you can always get out of the bind super easy. And that could just like save you lives, right?
I see.
So I would say that's valuable.
Maybe I should use Discord more often.
I mean, it could be very useful for that, but that doesn't mean that you have to be on it like 3 hours a day, right? But if you have a specific question and there is someone who can answer you, then that can be super helpful. Through my Discord, so you can find my Discord in !Discord, but that's probably how you found me, right? Yeah. I have the class Discords available in like the top left in one of the categories there, and then you can just find your Discord and join it from there. And then you can immediately, usually they have like an FAQ, and it'll probably be something like, you know, how much critical damage is too much, you know, taken into account where the regular, you know, where the general balance is within reboot and such.
Okay. Another, like, sorry, I'm probably just jumping around here.
Well, if you feel like a topic is properly addressed, you can jump to the next thing. That's fine for me.
It's all good. I mean, like, I was just figuring, like, if I should add more crit rate. I mean, if I don't need the Phantom Link, that's awesome. I never really liked it anyways. Like,
fuck it, yeah.
So I'm like okay with that because I wanted to change the Phantom Link to the Beast Hammer Link anyways. I mean, more boss damage, you know how it is. I'm like, oh, give me more of that.
Yeah, I imagine once you get like a sizably bigger legion, you can maybe wean off of like one of them. But the main thing is gonna come once you can redo the inner ability and get crit rate in there. That basically makes it.
I've tried so hard to get crit rate on the inner ability. Oh man, like anytime we get that 50% off, I roll and nothing.
Do you do a full roll or do you?
No. I keep the boss. Damage, but because like I saw that it was boss damage then crit rate. So I'm like, all right, I have one, keep that one, and then I just keep rolling the other ones. But
so if you do roll like that, there is a possibility that you end up kind of overspending on the honor experience because when you lock, you're basically paying double, right? So you only have half the rolls, so you only now have half the opportunities to get what you want. When in the long term, it makes more sense to just kind of hold on to your honor experience until you have, let's say like 1.5 mil or something, like an amount where you can say, now I can redo my invulnerability and actually reliably get to use the second line I want, like the crit, and then get back my boss damage on top. Because what you want to do is use circulators instead, and use those to just roll all three, right? And if you don't get what you want, that's fine, right? Then you could just log back to what you have and basically treat them like black cubes. But if you do get what you want, if you do see that 20% crit rate, then you can lock that 20% crit rate and then try to get back for the boss damage on the top line, basically.
Oh, and get the top line would be easier to get than the second line.
The thing is that it's kind of, yeah, because right now, even if you get crit, there's variance in it. But if you get it with a circulator, it always rolls the highest possible number. So if you see people with just like 20% boss, they probably got that off a circulator.
Okay.
Once you take decent combat orders consistently, then passive +1 is also slightly better than boss for invulnerability, Smidley says. So I assume that they're probably pretty similar. So if you hit boss, you probably just keep it until you're really, really min-maxing later on. Or if you're like close to end of your honor experience, you still take it. But that also gives you extra outs, right? So that means that if you're locking in, boss is fine early on. Yeah, but I think, well, yeah, that's probably true. Passive +1. The biggest contender is probably Mezzo. Yeah, and that's another thing, is that a lot of people, as long as you don't need attack speed +1 to hit like, any kind of cap so that you're like smoothly sailing through the map, a lot of people like to have the Mezzo invulnerability as well, just so you make more money throughout the whole game. But I don't know if you had boss the whole way through, or if you did have Mezzo at some point, or drop rate, or...
No, I've had boss base, like once I reached legendary, I rolled a bit, I rolled boss, and I was like, alright, I'm keeping it. And then I got Mesa through the rerolls in terms of trying to get crit. And then once I had very little, I was like, okay, I'll just keep Mesa until the next one.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think it's okay to just keep what you have and get like all the way up to 255, 260 or something, and then kind of reevaluate on doing it. But it's really like a big project, and if you keep making like small bursts, there's a chance you get lucky one time, but there's a bigger chance you don't get lucky a single time, and then you end up with having spent like 2 million on honor and not getting anything, versus if you spend it all in one go and one project, throw some mezzo at it, throw some honor at it, you might end up actually with a really, really solid invulnerability.
Okay. Right.
Plus, it'll give you some time, to talk to other Kains and maybe hear about their experience with the invulnerability, and then maybe based on that, decide what you think is a good idea to do.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And for another thing, I guess it's my rings. Right now, I'm using basically 3 event rings and the Golix ring. What would I need to move away from the event rings? I sort of want to change the event rings into being drop rings now.
Sure.
But I do want to get damage rings, right? So I know Akana's treasure was going to be a big one, but I got one to 17 stars, and it's weaker than like just a regular event ring. So do I need to get past 17 stars in order for a ring to be better than an event ring right now, or?
Yeah. Yeah, which typically means just like all the way kind of thing.
All the way.
Well, like, let's say that you switch to like an 18 or a 19 and it's slightly better, and then the next upgrade comes and then you boom it. Well, now you have to go back to the event ring again. So usually it's one of those things where you kind of like sit on the event ring and try to make like a 20 or 21 depending on what your final aim is on the side. And then once you have it, then you switch over and then you commit to the potential, basically. Your head is disgusting, by the way. That potential is like, and the flame's like really, really good.
Sorry?
Your hat is really good, by the way.
Oh, I know. I was proud of it.
That thing
I showed my friend. I was like, look at this.
Yeah, look at, like, push it in his face, like, look at this thing.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I've done it twice, Sam. I did it with the hat, and when I got the hat mark, and it was like I said, we've basically been duoing bosses from like Chaos Zachem. When we did Chaos Pap, he was talking to me like, what happens if we get a pat mark? And I'm like, I don't know. We'll see what happens. And then we started soloing it, and my first solo, I got it, and I was like, yeah.
You got it?
Yeah, on the first solo, I got it. And I was
Jesus.
like, nice.
So now you're duoing and helping him, or?
No, he can clear Chaos Pat by himself too.
Okay, yeah.
So like essentially what
You don't want to give him some of your drop magic? Jeez.
Nah, man, nah.
It's all mine.
I'm waiting for the slime ring.
Yeah. Oh yeah, true. Yeah, gotta get that slime ring. Yeah. Then and then the pitch boss, and then you can give some to him if there's
then
anything
I'll
left.
help him. Then I'll help him.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, but that's basically it. So that the rings, you want one to make like a big jump and then switch over. So the ones that are usually contenders is at this point it's kind of treasure, reinforced, Meister.
Okay. So I don't need this. Slime ring is not there yet, or
so slime I think is kind of in an awkward position. If you get a slime now, like what are you gonna do? Make a 17 slime? But like you said, it's like barely stronger than an event ring, right?
My plan was with the slime. I thought it would be better when the new face thing drops from Lucid, right?
Yes.
Then I could just put those two, and I'll have like 2 set Dawn, right?
Yeah, and I'll make the same argument though as like an 18-star like kind of treasure versus the ring. Then it is slightly better, but then what is the next step? Is like very close. The next step is going for more Starforce, and then what if it booms? Not only that one part, that one thing falls away, but now both of them fall away because they need each other for the set bonus to be where you want it to be, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So it might make more sense to hold on to backups, make bigger jumps and upgrades, and this is kind of like the same thing again with the invulnerability. Sometimes holding yourself back a little bit in the short term so that you can make a big jump instead, because those big jumps are more efficient than making a lot of small hops, because there is a bigger chance that every single small hop doesn't work, and there's a smaller chance that a big jump with a lot of money doesn't pan out successful.
So for Starforcing, I mean, my friend and I, we both hate it. I know past
only you guys. Everyone else loves Starforcing.
Yeah. Everybody loves it.
Favorite thing. Yeah.
Videos. All your videos, man. You just get 20 stars, no problem.
Yeah. Okay. Do not get it twisted. Okay, this is not the reality of Starforcing.
So if I were to keep a bunch of Kanas in order to make a slime ring, right? I would have to get a Kana to essentially 21, transfer that to Superior, get that to 21, and transfer that into Slime, and then get that to 22, right?
Yeah, if you want to go like all the way with the 22. The only alternative would be to just have a bunch of slime rings by the time you get to that point, and just like straight up go on a slime ring and see if you can just like YOLO it by itself, kind of thing.
Well, so if I were to do the longer route, and I get into the Superior and the Superior blows up, do I go Superior again, or do I just go back to the Content Treasure and say done?
You're talking about, are you in a situation where you're replacing one of those 4 rings that I mentioned for a slime ring?
Yeah, like let's say I want to move into a slime ring, right? And I have the meso, I have the backups. Let's say I only have 1 slime ring, so I'm not gonna.
So what is your current What is your current ring setup? Are you looking at like a 21 Kana Treasure, 21 Reinforced, like 21 Kana Treasure, 21 Meister, 19 Reinforced,
21 Kana,
20 Superior?
21 Kana.
So you just make a 21 Kana compared to what you have now?
Yeah.
Then I would work on the Starforce and equip that.
Okay.
Because you're gonna need your Gollux coins for all of your tapping of 20 to 21 after you do 21 fodder into 20 superior, and you're gonna need those backups. Well, hopefully not as much for the belt and the earrings. Hopefully you get 1 or 2 backups there, and you can just do it safely. But you'll need your coins for just the superior backup to get the superior to 2021. As a insurance there, and then for the pendant as well, and then for another superior, but also probably as backups for the reinforced. So there's a lot of pressure on your Gollux coins there. So you want to make sure that you have if you get a 21 Content Treasure now, that's a huge upgrade compared to one of your rings, and you want to capitalize on that for a long time. And then once you get 21 Content Treasure, 21 Meister, and probably like at least like a 19 reinforced depending on how the other ones go, and then a 21 again of Conan Treasure or Meister transfer hammered into superior to like a 20 superior. Then you can start thinking about like, okay, well now maybe the slime ring comes in. I know people want to like equip a slime ring immediately when they have it because it's like high level item and the set bonus and everything. But if you equip it too early, I feel like you kind of like sell yourself short on how big the upgrade could eventually be, and you might be trying to take on a little bit too big of a project that for the same amount of money you could be getting some more guaranteed gains rather than potentially slightly bigger gains on switching to the ring.
I see. Okay.
Like you still have like CRA up to 21 like in front of you with like infinite backups that you never have to safeguard, right? That's a way cheaper project for virtually the same gains, maybe like a little bit less, but way cheaper. So pound for pound, that's a lot more bang for your buck.
Yeah. Okay.
And that kind of sucks because if you get an early ring, that means that you're sitting on it possibly for months until you can really capitalize on it. I get that. But and in the end, it's your decision. You can choose not to. But like I'm just telling you from an efficiency standpoint, it wouldn't be a good option.
I do wanna have the efficiency, I guess, on using it properly, right?
Yeah, if you can do everything you want to do, you can do all the bosses you want to do, you can kill the monsters as fast as you want to do. Then you could do what you want. But if you're on a little bit tighter budget, you got your weapon that you're sitting on right now, so you might need a little bit more damage guaranteed from your other pieces. You're trying to duo things, so you're already putting more pressure on the two of you. Then that would make all of those decisions even harder to follow through on.
Okay. Okay, and so circling back to my thought process on getting Arcane. So I can stop trying to upgrade the Abzu, I guess you could say, in a way, right? And just move it to straight for Arcane, right?
Sure.
I think, right? I think that's a good call. I'll be sad because I lose my 2-line crit damage glove, but...
yeah, that's the one downside, but I mean, there's a lot of... eventually you go for that anyway on the stuff. Yeah, but 2-line all set with all set 2-line critical damage with all set of scores is a great combo of potential. Yeah. But yeah, c'est la vie. You could always try to tap it at 25, see if you can hold on to it, but. There is an option.
Get all my Abzo to 25.
Yeah, you could also like do like some weird like 3 Abzo 2 or like 3 Arcane 2 Abzo combo or something that's not terribly weaker. Like if the Abzo gets to 20 or to 21, and you get 2 pieces, and then you keep get like 3-piece Arcane and that up to like 19 or something. That's like pretty close in total set if you don't want to have to redo all the money. But in the end, like getting 2-line critical damage is not super expensive like in the grand scheme of things. Have you played around with the calculator a little bit?
I wanted to a bit. So a lot of these upgrades happened recently with that cube sale that happened. Before, while we were actually even killing like the easy lucid and stuff, which is why actually we moved into normal lucid after all the upgrades. Was I was running around with like maybe 1-line decks, stuff like that. I really didn't have much of my like damage gear yet. A lot of my stuff was actually meso and drop together. And yeah, after I got the cube sale, I decided to, all right, let me at least 2-line everything. And then that's when I got the 2-line crit and the all stat, and I was like, oh.
Yep. Yeah, if you kind of take the all stat out of the like, if you take that into account, then it's like, I don't know, like 110 bill or something. But if you just look at 2-line crit damage and the 3rd line is whatever, then you're looking more like 7.5 to 10 bill, like on black cubes. So then and then compare that with like with like Starforcing. On just like your average, make a 21-star CRA piece or something, then that's completely not out of the 3-line crit damage, 16 trill. Yeah, that's a little bit out of the norm for most people.
So for Arcanes, how expensive would it be in general? I guess I haven't actually just used a calculator. How expensive would Arcane be to get to 17? I guess safeguarding, because I wouldn't have replacements.
You probably safeguard. So Arcane seems like a good idea. I think it's a little bit all over the place in the sense that it is. I think the calculator would say something like 4 or something. Oh, not even. Like during 5, 10, 15, if you do the whole thing, it's like closer to 3. But you know, some people get it pretty early. Some people actually spend like 5 bill on a single piece before they get it. The other thing is that if you're really like buying it with droplets, then you're basically paying more than double, right? Because just the droplets itself is like, was it like 5.4 bill or something per?
I haven't bought any droplets. All the ones I've gotten were drops or the event stuff.
Yeah, like 17 starring is like a smaller part of it, but like getting OK potential and OK flame is like a small part. It's more like if you take all of it together, you know, like all of the Starforcing, all of the cubing, and then buying the droplets, if you do all of that together, then you're looking at probably pretty easy. Well, potential probably looking at like 3, and then Starforcing at least 3 during an event. And then the droplets, depending on, you know, let's say you don't have to buy all of it, but you're spending like 4 or something on that. So that's like an easy 10 bill. And then, you know, and then you still need to do the flame on top of that. But you can probably use bossing flames. But it's going to be like at least 10 bill, I would say, per piece that you're throwing out. Yeah.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah.
10 bill. Oh, man.
Eventually, there's going to come a time where 10 bill is not that much money. You know, that's going to be like, if you're training hard, you're going to be making that on like 2 days.
Yeah, I mean, I do see. I don't really train that often. I generally play maybe 2 hours a day max. I don't play that much. A lot of the days, you know, work. I come in, do some dailies. I do work on a bossy mule right now, but after that, it's over the weekend. My friend and I do some bosses on our mains and also on our secondaries and stuff like that. But yeah, I would say my average play time is 2 hours, but an hour and a half of that maybe is dailies. So I don't really do totems.
I see. Maybe in weekends or something, right? When you have...
Yeah, on a weekend I'll maybe do 2 hours, and I do know, like, with the meso gear and stuff, I make about I would think $1 billion, especially since with the vac pet now. Oh, the vac pet was a lifesaver. Oh, you don't understand, man.
No, I got it on my arc as well. It was quite nice just to not have to go out of the way to loot and everything. Just
feels so good.
Feels good, yeah.
$100 worth it.
Just a peace of mind that you're not leaving stuff everywhere. Yeah.
But yeah, so I think I make like $1 bill an hour. So with the totem, it's $2 bill. Pretty good.
What is the superior trace?
Oh, yeah. So that's the thing, right? I was like, I saw that. So I rolled the hybrid, I guess people call it, right?
Yeah.
And then I saw that I had it at 12 stars, and I was equipping it because I thought it was 17 this whole time. Then I looked at it on a 5, 10, 15. And then I was like, oh, sweet. I could just get this to 17 now because I forgot that it was 12. So I get to 16 and I didn't safeguard because I thought I had enough coins to get another one. I had 400 at the time. I thought 400 was the cost for a superior piece, right? So I figured I have one backup, I can go get it. And then trying to get to 17, I blew it up, and then I didn't have coins to buy the next one, and it's just sad.
A rip. This is one of those great items that you can like throw 17-star scrolls at, for example. So
yeah.
Because it's not something you want to have to safeguard because it's not super necessary to get a lot of damage on like a drop item. It's just nice to have. So when your account starts kind of getting rounded out and most of your stuff is already 17 plus and you have one of those scrolls, you're like, okay, do I throw it on like a random mule? Or, you know, is there some item in my equip? So, but yeah, I mean, that's a lesson you learn.
Yeah, I figured. I was like, I thought I had enough for. All right, like I said, I thought I had enough coins to get the other ones. I figured, whatever, you know, I don't need a safeguard. What's the chance it'll blow up on like 2%? And
100% it turns out. Yeah, I thought this was like your Starforcing like 12 to 13, and you forget to tick safeguard one time, and then the first time 0.6.
It's not that bad. It was not that bad. It was almost done, and then it decided to blow up. I
actually
next
almost
one
at the
waste my money.
yeah, no, exactly at the exact same. But my drop earring was the Diacitis one, right? But I had no backup because who does Horntail like 15 times to get backups?
Yeah.
I was like, it's not gonna boom. We go to 17, and then up to 16, of course, no problem. And then the last star it booms.
Yeah, and it took
all
a while
the way
to
down
get
to 12.
I think that one piece itself took like a bill just to get to 15, and then.
Well, you want to use if you can, the 30% off events to get up to 15, right? And then that the 17 is just like a matter of just tap and safeguard tap, and then and then fail a few times, of course. But hopefully that is quite a bit faster. And we do have an upcoming 30% off, but I don't know if you have anything that you would necessarily want to throw at that event.
No, I don't think so. Not on the Kain. I think to get to 21 or past 20, I would think the 5, 10, 15 is what I would want, right?
Yep. Yeah. Well, at this point, what you probably want is just get a lot of backups and just save up for a while, right?
Yeah. I mean, right now, I mentioned to my friend as well, like, just keep saving until we get an announcement to see if we do get that what they call it, the Starlight?
The Shining Starforce.
Shining Starforce thing, and then we'll go hard on that one. But until then, I said, let's just save up on it until we get it.
Well, you have enough now to rebuy your earring,
I know.
right?
Yeah.
Well,
but,
were you like?
I'm not training, so I
figured
I don't need it yet. You know what I mean?
Do you have another superior that you use for damage?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I have two superiors. Because what happened was when I got my first superior piece, I rolled that and I was like, oh, I can't unroll this, so then I have to get another superior piece.
You got another drop.
So I got, like I said, I got this one, and then I potentialed it, and that's when I got the 2 lines, and I told my friend, well, we need to keep going until I get my second one because I just rolled a drop in Meso and I'm not re-rolling out of this.
I see. Yeah. Okay. What happened now? Yeah, I see a lot of people rolling that on rings or on earrings. It just it happens a lot. On pendants, and then you're like, well, fuck me. I mean, at least it was an earring that you can get another drop for. If it's a ring or a pendant, then it's like, oh, there goes 700 coins. It's an expensive piece of drop, but but there's like the whole situation of like, when you really move to a next piece and when a piece becomes valuable. That feels like that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I have the gist of it, one, save up money for it, and then I think right now I'm at the point, I guess pushing into 20 stars, or like past 17, going into 20 is what I'm looking at for upgrades now, right?
It's mainly we're going to be whatever you have the most backups for, so probably CRA, but that's going to be jumping past. You're probably going to have to do like some in-between jumps just because of the nature of your income, but you probably want to, usually it's like 17, 19, and then 21 is usually just like per 2 stars. So if you can hit that on like, if a Shining Starforce hits, it'll be up to you if you can be like, oh, I want to get 21 on all the CRA, or I'm just going to get 19 on a whole bunch of stuff. If you're going to do the transfer and the fodder, it's basically always the 21 and then back into the superior. So the superior at least jumps from 17 all the way to 20, and then hopefully the 21 immediately after that. So you can do that in one jump. You don't want to do like the transferring in 2 jumps. That's very inefficient because you're always losing a star on a transfer, right? So that extra premium that you're paying for the transferring is pretty expensive. So if you could do that in one time, that's the way to go.
So for like superior, I would need a 22 Kana to get into superior then.
Yeah, so there's 3 options, right? One is to get the if you eventually, well, there's like extreme scenarios. So like if you want to get a 22 superior ring, the way that you could do that, the most guaranteed but the most expensive, was to get like a 23 kind of treasure or meister, and then to transfer it in. Then you have no risk on the back end, but it's extremely expensive. So we don't do that, right? It's just unfathomably expensive.
Yeah.
The cheapest way would just do on the rings. That would cost you the least amount of mesos, but it costs you an insane amount of Gollux coins. So we typically don't do that either. So the in between is to go like 1 star over fodder and then go on the piece itself. Just from 20, because 22 is typically only something that's done if you're like transferring into let's say like the source of suffering or something, or like if you could transfer hammer into like a terror, like like pitch boss stuff, because then it's like once it's in there, and I'm like not touching it anymore. And then some people might still want to tap it to 22, and it, like, just to have that one chance of tapping straight up from 21 to 22 might be enough worth it to make that. But that's also because typically by the time you do that, you're further in the game, and that amount of money doesn't have the same value, but that drop does. So then spending an extra 10 or 15 bill just to get one extra chance on the, on the final item is always worth it, because you just don't really have anything else you can spend money on. So all of that pressure is on that one piece.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, even if you have like the CRA at 21 and then the Superior Godlike piece is just transferred over and still at 20 and not gotten them for 20 to 21 yet, you'll see a huge difference in the amount of damage that your character is doing. Once the potential is redone and everything, of course, but you see a huge difference there. And then you can also finally kind of start flaming the the superior stuff, right?
I haven't really touched the flames.
No, that's totally normal. Maybe get like a 3% all stat here and there, or like 16 stat, but other than that, it's a nightmare to flame. So yeah, like the superior pendant, right, with the 32 dex, that's probably as good as it's gonna get. So keep a low bar. Yeah. They're not gonna get like your hat or something and like some random 60 and 6 throwing around there. That's not gonna happen. All right. How are you on familiars? Do you feel like you have a grasp on that? What are you doing with familiars at this point?
With familiars, generally, I guess like for capping and stuff, I'm capping at what's this map called? It's called Void Current 1, like Crushing Glares. I'm just basically just capping there. Any familiars I get from there, I merge them into making epics. And then I just reveal the epic, and if the epic is no good, then I go into putting it into a unique, essentially.
Any large drops so far?
No, I've been wanting one so bad. Nothing.
Yeah, it's so juicy.
I did get the healing one at least, but it turns out they are greedy, so no wonder my friend was dying out.
Yeah. Well, you didn't even know, so it's not malice. It's just ignorance there, right?
I thought it worked.
Well,
when I got 2 of them, I was like, sweet, all right, I'm done. And I was like,
I'm helping, but he wasn't. He was not helping.
So
your teammate is like, well, healing for fam suck, dude. I don't get anything from this.
Right. He's like, man, I should just go back to IED. Well, I think he has an ally familiar too, so I'm getting his heal too. So it's just, I'm just getting healed all over, and he's just.
Yeah, eventually you could even get like double lines of party heal, right? So you could theoretically get up to like 12 lines between the two of you, which would be insane. Then you're and whenever it ticks, you just like boom, full health, even without any moonlight. And then you can get way more complacent with their positioning and all of that, because then it doesn't really matter as much anymore. Because you don't really even need the moonlight for the healing anymore in phase 2, especially if you have more people. But the fewer you have, and the fewer people and lines you have, the more you have to be careful.
Yeah, the more pressure on everything, I guess. Every individual thing gets more pressure on. Yeah, so I mean, with familiars, I guess I'm fairly familiar. I actually wanted to ask, we can't get legendary familiars in REBOOT, right?
There is a very small chance. Apparently, you can drop from Princess Snow, and there's like a small handful of them.
Oh, but we can't upgrade them to legendary.
No. You need red cards to do that. That has like a small chance of tearing up, like an abysmal chance of tearing up. So if red cards come out and you use them on a unique, or they have been part of some compensations before here and there, but very, very limited. And you use them on a unique, then there would be a very small chance. So if you have a few uniques at least, you keep like 1 or 2, that are shitty lines, but just hold on to them in case they ever come out, so you have something to throw on. Who knows, man? Prage. Maybe Hail Mary, one of them hit something. Okay. All right. So looking through everything, is there like a topic where you feel like the general progress of your account, maybe for you, for your friend, for the two of you? I will say like getting 8K Legion will make a few things a whole lot easier. For example, like not
Yeah,
having to choose in the Legion block anymore. But your Legion is pretty big for where you are, like level wise. So I'm not saying that it's like a super priority or anything, but just leveling in general. You know, getting into Limina. Higher level will also give you more final damage on Will because he is level 250, so that will make that boss fight a bit easier as well. You know, getting into Cernium and getting all the free stats from the symbols there. But the main thing is going to be the big upgrade of of the gear is going to be probably the biggest thing.
Definitely. I mean, how do I say it? Like I'm looking forward to Cernium, but I guess you could say like I despise dailies in terms of like what it is. Oh God, it is something that I do it because I'm like, all right, I'll do it, but it's not something I'm like, oh yeah, dailies. My friend loves dailies. The only reason he's 252, he's like, I need to get to 260 so I can get Cernium dailies. And I'm like, oh my God.
It's like, dude, I finally got done with my arcane ones, and you can't wait to do the next ones.
Like I'm like looking so forward to when I'm done Morass because I'm like, oh man, just get me out of here. Like, I don't want to do it anymore. But
yeah, you're close to maxing, right?
Yeah, my Morass is like a level 19. It's like what 279 out of 372. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. 100 more, but man, I'm like so
home stretch.
I'm out of it, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, get me out of these dailies. But my friend loves them, man. He has like another character. His other secondary is like 240 something, and he's almost maxed out those symbols too. And I'm like, Jesus, man.
Yeah. Yeah, you get to the point where all of my characters that I maxed with, that I wasn't like actively maining, which was basically all of them except for my DA and my ARC, I guess. You would, if you're just doing the dailies, you basically max out your symbols by the time you get to like around 242, 243, like around that level, you can actually max out your symbols. And then if you ever then you have to throw way less money into it to be able to just, you know, jump up to 260, well, up to 250 definitely, because you everywhere bonus max damage. Every new area you come into, you're just like destroying them. All you have to do is just throw nodes at a character and not have the worst gear in the world, and you can train wherever, kill wherever, and that's really cool.
Yeah, that's what I figured with my Kain too. I thought I was gonna have a harder time getting into the labyrinth, but I went in there and it was just no problem.
Yep. That's probably because you're training a little bit less, right? Because you don't have a lot of time, so you're disproportionately probably ahead in symbols compared to doing your totems.
Yeah, probably. Like I said, my totem usage, man, I don't even know why they give me so many.
Yeah, there'll be some people like, oh my god, totems, like it's like 4 days in, I'm out of totems, and I'm like, bro, half the months
they're crazy.
Like go into storage. Okay, there's my 11 totems that expired from last month.
Yeah. So when my friend and I started, he was like, oh, we got to make Kana farmer and some like hard packs. Like I don't need that. Oh. My friend is really excited, or he loves dailies, that's for sure. He hates grinding though, and I'm like, oh man, we're like total opposites. He loves dailies. I like grinding. Like I said, if I could grind for half an hour, I'll try, and I'll turn my mind off for that half hour. But it's not something I'm like, oh yeah, like let me get my dailies done. He's like dailies. He hates grinding, so
you guys are nice and complimentary then.
Yeah. I guess since I see what Link skills, besides I guess the Beast Tamer one, I guess we got to move out of. Would the, I guess since I am a burst heavy class, is the AB Link like not like worth, I guess, adding into my kit?
I would say so, yeah.
I feel maybe, but I feel like it's just so short. In terms of like the time,
kind of, but it is also a lot for the little time that you have. People like to combine it with whatever was that 5th job purple one, does like an insane amount of lines very quickly.
Yeah, that's the one I'm maxing out. Fatal Blitz.
Yeah, Fatal Blitz. If you pop terms and conditions and then into a Fatal Blitz, that's always nice. Usually you look for a skill right around the 90-second cooldown, but if your whole kit kind of more centers, and I think you guys are pretty much like at 90 and 180, right? As Kain?
Well, I like the 2 burst skills are 60 seconds. there.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Okay.
yeah, 90 seconds. Sorry, 90 seconds.
Yeah, 90.
I don't
Yeah.
know why I
So
thought-
90 actually
Yeah,
synchronizes quite nicely with terms and conditions, and then your
Mm-hmm.
180 and your 90 actually synchronizes quite nicely with Adele as well, because Adele has like Ruin at 60, but they've got Storm at 90. Together with terms and condition, and then their big burst skill, their Infinity Blade at 180 together with you. So that's actually quite nice for the bind timer, that you don't have to be like, oh, how much longer do you have? How much longer do you have? You kind of know, right?
Yeah. So right now, before we get until Destiny, when we're getting alarms, like the thing where like, oh, skill's ready, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I ask him like, how long till you're bind? The moment he says 1 minute, I'm like, all right, burst.
Yeah.
Because like I can do 2 cycles before his I guess his what you call it, his bind comes back, right?
Mm-hmm.
So halfway through his bind, I'm like, how long left? He's like 1 minute. I'm like, all right, that's enough time for me to burst. And then I burst, and then by the time his bind comes back, I have burst again.
Well, once you know that you're like on 180 boomer doing it, then you know that your 90 skills, like you're using it one time in a burst, and then one time whenever it comes up, you just you don't even have to ask anymore. You just use it. Yeah. And it's better to use it, and even it's better to use it like suboptimally than to not use it at all. Because if you're waiting like 10 seconds to use it perfectly, well, now it means that you're not going to be able to use it right when the burst goes off, and now your whole timer is going to be thrown off. So it's better to use it immediately, even if it's not super optimal, just to keep your timings in line with your teammate. And like post it in the chat.
The alarms.
That'll just be easier to see than looking at the specific icon. But what Paul said in chat is correct. Like the focus spirit, at least for bossing, you definitely want to keep the beast tamer, because you get to use that 10% damage, and you use the critical rate, which gives you that extra critical damage during your burst. The only one that I would look at, like in your current situation, that you might switch out of, it's probably like between Thief's Cunning and Cygna's Blessing. These are probably like the quote-unquote like the weakest ones. But yeah, if you're duoing, you're probably not using the Adele skill, right?
No, I wanted to use it, but because I know party, it works with party members, right? So so we would get what? How much is the bonus?
I think it's 6% base, and then an extra 2% per member, up to a total of 3 extra members for 12.
Yeah. So I was gonna do it, or because I know he's an Adele, right? So I figured maybe I should just put mine in. But I like the Cygna's Blessing skill. I think it's just because of the abnormal resistance. Because man, I get hit by everything. Like I said, like when I went into Will, I'm like, just give it to me. I'm in. I'll take it all. You know what I mean? I feel like my stuns last for like a second. So
I get that. I get, and it's this is like a constant struggle. Like in the beginning, when you're getting used to the mechanics, you want to get like all of the utility possible, because you just want to survive so that you can get better at the boss and see more mechanics. But then once you get a lot better at it, you won't need as much of the utility anymore, and you just want more damage so you can make sure that you can kill it. And then once you're sure that you can definitely kill it, then you want the utility again, because it's not going to make that much of a difference on how quickly you kill it, but you want to make sure you don't die to some dumb shit. So that's like the kind of the move that you always. Those are like the phases you go through with all of the bosses. So depending on the boss, Cygna's Blessing might be really useful, or might be like, at this point we should switch out for something else. Let's see. Paul is saying that the Tide of Battle is not as useful because you can't move in Thanatos. Can you move enough in the beam? Because Thanatos doesn't last that long, right? Is losing it for Thanatos really that bad? The other thing is, of course, like if you're using, especially later, if you're using like Rings of Restraint and stuff, you definitely don't want to jump out of that with Tide of Battle. Right now, the Mihal link would be very nice, so you don't get knocked around. I don't know if you've felt the need for that.
I've noticed.
Yeah, in Lucid, golems,
in
right?
Lucid, not even just the golems. Like in Lucid, the stupid butterflies. Like I've died maybe more than I can count to just like the little orange little ball. It hits me and I fall right into a dragon.
Oh yeah,
that's
God. That's, you don't want to do that.
Yeah, the moment Destiny was coming out, I tell my friend, like I think maybe like last week, I died to it again, right? Because I just keep dying to it, and I'm stubborn that I don't want to use the Mihai link, because I'm like, we're gonna get 100% stance. Leave it alone, right? So I'm like, and I die to it, and it's like, you should get it and you should use it, and I'm like, nah.
Get rid of Spirit of Freedom, just don't die. Yeah, no, I like Spirit of Freedom. Because the thing is, like the Jet Link skill, the core aura, if you get a good roll on there, that could be like a lot of just raw damage. right? Weapon attack and stat.
It would be like 30, right? 30 and 30.
It could go up to 35 possibly, but you'll probably get somewhere like in the low 30s. Yeah, 32 to 34 is typically what people end up trying to aim for.
But that would be locked into, I guess, my Kain, right? It would just be dex and attack, right? So
yeah.
I guess only archers would use it.
You could go wider, but then it'd be more expensive. You could say like I'm trying to get a good strength roll and dex roll and attack. Then you'd end up spending more. But then you could also use it on warriors for also a decent buff, and it'd be your secondary stat, so that you can get something out of it.
Yeah.
I don't know what else you have. Dawn warrior. Yeah, so some strength there could be useful. Lara, Wind Archer could benefit from it.
Oh yeah. So that's I have a weakness where Deboki and Kobe, they just tempt me into playing so many classes where I see them play it, I'm like, oh, I want to make it. So
they're all fun. Yeah, there's so many fun classes.
I don't know if it's just them that make it fun, and I'm like, I'm in. Like,
it's possible.
Like when Kobe made the video where he's like, I'm gonna go to Scania. I went to Barra, and I was like, let me do it. And then when I went back to Reboot with my friend, I was like, all right, I'm making a Dawn Warrior again because the Sun skill is just, I love it, man. Just stand there and let it all die.
Just destroy it. Yeah. Yeah, it's super satisfying.
And then the Wind Archer again, Deboki. I have basically anything he's made, I've made. Man, it's just these guys, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good to stay in contact with just different classes because a lot of times you can like meta, or you look at tier lists, and then certain classes kind of always get forgotten. But there's no classes that are really just like suck, like you can't do anything on them. All of them have some really cool redeeming qualities and some cool fun things to them.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes it's just good to be reminded of that. But yeah, you don't really have the time to play all of them, so sometimes you just need someone to point you in direction, be like, hey, have you tried this? And be like, oh shit, that actually looks really cool. And it probably is really cool too.
Yeah. I mean, like I could say I've played every class. There are definitely classes I hate more than others. If I didn't show a picture of all my Legion, but like you can see the classes that I despise. They're in Necromancer gear, and all they did was trick potions. Like
yeah, like 175, like high off the EGP potions.
Yeah, man. Like
complete pink eyes.
No, they're all level 200 now. Because,
they're 200.
Like, I'm not. Yeah. Like a lot of my characters are 200. I think I have a few that are like 170 right now that are gonna use the last remaining potions. But
yeah, you're missing like 100, so you're missing like around 500 levels, so you have like 12 160s or something.
No, I don't have any 160s. I have like two 250s because of a burninator or burninators. I think other than that it's two 250s.
150s probably, right? Or do you burn it to 250?
The burn coupon, the burninator.
But it's 150, right? Because you said two.
Yeah,
he said 250. I was like,
sorry. Oh no,
that's a nice burn. Hook me up, bro. Like, where can I get those? I can use some 250s. Get my 10k Legion going.
Yeah. Oh man, two 150s, and then I have two 170s and 183, 162. You know, they're all just sticking potions to get up there. But yeah, I don't know.
No, it will come, and I mean, especially with the upcoming stuff, right? You're going to terror burn something, make a 220 that's going to replace a 150 off the board. So
I had a thing with my friend where I told him, I want to make one of each class to at least be able to kill Lucid and Lotus. So because of the relay event.
Yeah.
When that was announced in KMS, I figured if we get it here, I don't have anything ready to even kill Lotus. So that's when I made Asahi, which is my Dawn Warrior. That's when I made her. She got to Lotus real quick. Granted, like I said, my friend and I don't like getting carried, but for us to sort of like, if we've cleared it already, our secondaries, we'll carry our secondaries through, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, he carried my.
I think it'll depend on the character. For some, you'll be like, I just want to try it by myself. And for some, you'll be like, I don't need it that much. I just want to clear. I don't need the trophy and the self worth. Just give me the clear.
Rushed, yeah. My Lara got like super rushed because I think I had the moment Tactical Relay started. That's when I made the Lara, and I was like, man, how am I gonna get this to Lotus level? But then I looked at my storage, and I have like these really old like buffs. Like I have like the V buff. I have winter buffs. man, you should have seen it. Like, it was just a full row of just buffs.
The
I felt
whole.
like I killed Black Mage. Like,
Yeah.
you know, just like, oh, buff. Like, I had both guild buffs.
There's like a whole
buff,
block of stats in
game
the
buff.
top right,
Yeah.
because it goes over like 6 lines and shit.
Yeah.
When you're
But
training, it goes.
It was so fast. Like, I killed it in like 8 minutes, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, did you get guild skills as well? That helps a lot.
Yeah. Level 30 guild skills, all of it. Just man, just,
you just
all
nuke
of
it.
it. Just give it to me. Yeah. Lara, she's
So
my
it went
ham.
from like being made around the time like the start of the relay to actually killing the relay solo by the end.
Yeah, because you know you needed 3 to get the chair,
Yeah,
right?
3 solos. Yeah.
And I really wanted the chair, so
Oh, you got it.
I was like, yeah. So I was like, it's like, man, how am I gonna do it? And then, like I said, I looked into my storage, and I had like the V buff. I have cold winter energies. I use
Old
sparkling
FIFA.
potion.
Oh, you really went all out. Yeah, okay.
Oh yeah, my friend asked me what are those. I'm like, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about
really
it, bro.
old.
Yeah. Like a 1 attack speed and 30 attack, I think, for half an hour.
Yeah.
I think I've got like 12 or something left on my DA for some.
I have 15.
Nice. I think it was like 20 that you got, and then I probably was a little bit too liberal within the beginning. Oh, you know, one thing that my DA still has is the Wilderness Hunter buff. We got like a few of those.
Oh, yeah. I have Lucky Winter.
Mm-hmm.
I have Lucky Winter, and then
Was it like Winter Energy, Lucky Winter,
Yeah.
and
Cold Winter Energy.
Cold Winter
Lucky
Energy,
Winter.
yeah.
Yeah. I got all. Yeah, my friend was like, "What are those buffs?" I'm like, you can't get them no more.
Yeah. don't worry about it. Like
don't worry.
like in the Tokyo Drift, like you see him come with that SLR. Don't worry. You wonder where he get that kind of money. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, man. Lara went in like a truck. Like I told my friend, like, I'll save those for Black Mage, but you know, I'll take a chair for it.
Yeah. Black Mage or chair, you know, it's like very close second to. Like, by the time you get to that point, it's more about team synergy and everyone being on the right page and positioning of the Black Mage rather than really, you know, having 30 more weapon attack on one buff.
Yeah, of course.
Of course, you know, if you have it, you can use it, but.
Yeah, no, I told my friend, like, nah, they're going to prepare them into storage. I won't use them until Kalos.
Yeah. All the way. And then by the time Kalos comes out, you could do it's like, no, I'm saving it for that boss. That's like at that point, like on the event horizon in Korea. So eventually you never use the buffs. You're just always holding on. Yeah. No. I'm gonna use it against Darmur. Okay, bro.
Yeah. No. Next boss. What's after that? That's the one I'll need him for.
Yeah, next baddie coming. Yeah. 2042. I'm still holding on to my last 3 V buffs. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's all good. But yeah, I know my Legion. It's getting there. I'm glad.
No, it's I was surprised like seeing it. I was like, oh, I was expecting like a low 6K one, and you're already in like a mid 7, so that 8K is gonna be a nice payout real soon. The nicest payout I think is in the extra characters for you, not as much in the stats, but mostly in like a huge jump in Legion raid power, and that gives you access to way more coins, so you can be a lot more liberal. Now you're not training as much, so you're already not really starving for coins, but it's just nice to have that. You know, if you want to. Let's say that you want to do like 45 minits, you don't have to feel bad about like throwing up a totem for 45 minutes either, because that's decent value, right?
I don't. I'm like, if I have the time to do maybe an hour or even like 50 minutes before I got to do something, I'll do it. You know, I'll give it to me.
Better to use half than 0 than to let them expire. Yeah.
And with the coins, man, you don't understand. Like I think I watched one of your streams or one of your other progressions, and you're like, oh man, I'm super like stingy with them. Like I don't even buy the epic potential scrolls. I'm like, what? Yeah. I use all the time. I'm like, put them on. Epic. You know?
Give me that purple.
I'm waiting every week to get 2 more. Like.
Yeah. People in chat be like, I'd be like, oh damn, I don't have an epic potential scroll. And people in chat be like, buy from the Legion. I'm like, no. I keep my coin.
Oh, no. Man, I use it all the time. I just put it on. Yeah.
I mean, even now, cause when I made the stretch to go from 275 to 280, I was at like 120,000 plus coins, and I'm still below 100,000 now, and I'm not reaching it again, like because I'm actually using my totems, and that's just 20k down, 23k down, and I'm not like catching back up. So, I mean,
and how many coins do you make on I guess per day?
So my Legion raid power, I think, is almost double yours. I think it's like
600 million?
yeah, I think it's close. It's like 585, 584. So almost double, but I have the in the dailies the 30. That's like a set amount, right? So it's not quite double because you can do that as well, right? But I don't know how much that is exactly. I would have to throw it through the calculator. But that's like the damage you do per second. So you multiply that enough to get to a day, and then divide by 100 bill per one coin, and then there you have it. There's like an easy way to do it. I think you like cut in half.
Yeah, because I think if per day, mine's like because like I claim it like once a day before I log out. I'm usually about 400 coins per day that I get out of it. So I don't use it for anything but epic pots first.
Oh, I know. I cap on more. Yeah, I think I get close to like. I don't know. I wouldn't have said. I don't know if you're 400. It might be like if you kept early on one day and then late on the other one. You know, you might get a pretty big difference because then you basically have like a day and a half. I think I'm a little bit over 500. I think like 520 or something like that. But if I don't pick up in one day, then by the next day, by the time I log in, I'm always like overcapped and I'm stuck at like 700.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, if I skip out, I'm capped at 5. So I guess 700 is at 8K.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like the it goes up a little bit, but not that much. Like on how much you can hold on to.
My cap is 500. Like if I don't
probably
if I don't
then
like 500 is my cap.
Yeah, imagine then yeah. You would think the cap would go up more because you can get exponentially more coins, but the cap doesn't go up very much at all. So you almost have to log in more at the higher levels than at the lower levels, which is kind of weird, but yeah.
And so I guess I don't know. I guess we're just circling back to the same thing. I should probably work on my what's it called, craftsmanship, the accessory crafting then, right?
Yeah. So you can start making those meisterings when you need to. I see you have a lot of kind of treasures, so that does mean that money-wise, you don't really have to work on the like. You can definitely get your accessory crafting to 10 already, like to get it ready for the jump. But since you have a lot of kind of treasures and you probably have like infinite backups for CRA, that's already like 4 projects off the 21 that you can think of like in the short term. So at least the next like Shining Star Force, you'll be like completely. You won't really get much more money than you can spend during that, I think, right?
Okay.
So there's not really the need to push beyond that. You'll hopefully have like the weapon that you can like Star Force and make, and then you have to work on that flame and the potential and all that, and then you have up to at least like 4 possibilities, and the easy upscale after that is like a ping beam belt to 21 to transfer into the superior belt, and the reinforced earring to 21 to transfer into a 20-star earring. So that's like 6 possible projects before you get to the Meister. So there's no immediate pressure. That's probably for like a 5 to 15 after that, or maybe the one after that, depending on how your income fluctuates.
Yeah. Right now my income is maybe 2 bill a week just through bosses.
No.
You know.
Well, do you get to do like Maple Tour and Ursus every day?
Ursus. So one of the things is I don't get
or time zones.
Like sometimes, so sometimes I just don't make it in time, and I'm like, whatever, you know, I'm not gonna let the game say I have to play now. I'm like, I have to take my dog out, like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If the game says now that the dog poops in a corner, and that's
exactly.
that's worse.
Like, so. So I mean, sometimes I make it for Ursus, you know, sometimes I don't, which is cool. What's it called? Maple Tour, I try and do, but like I said, I'm terrible with daily. So even if I do get on it, I sometimes even skip it because I'm like, I'm done. Like,
then it might be better to just throw up like a totem for 45 minutes instead of trying to do like Ursus and Maple Tour and then have like 20 minutes left or something. Maybe just train it.
So, and then. One of my favorite things that are going to happen in Destiny is no more pre-quests, because like I said, quests are like,
just let me get straight to it, you know?
I know. I don't want to do it no more.
One
time is enough.
Yeah, exactly. Like the first time is kind of pretty fun as well, just to know it, and then you know what you're dealing with, and then also you know what you're skipping and how much you're winning. So
yep.
You get that value. Okay, I'll just leave the hat on the
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the
yeah.
screen. This is like the average piece he has. Okay, chat. Listen.
And that's it. You know, what 250? Everything is like this. Top,
Mhm.
bottom, Galaxy gear, same thing. Everything.
Yeah, superior Galaxy earrings. Definitely not a trace. Yeah. Weapon definitely also same
Oh
caliber.
yeah, weapons 30% attack. You know.
Yep. Wait, 30? How did you do that?
Yeah. All. Wait. Okay. Sorry. Wait.
Oh yeah, if it's a
30,
Fafnir, it's if a
39.
Fafnir. Yeah, yeah. Or 39. Yes, 39 Abza. Exactly. There you go. There you go. Like,
uh,
did you get my mom to cube it for you? Damn. She got a.
uh,
I don't know if you heard the
so
like the
lucky.
whole thing with my mom, but so she joined on her Bowmaster. She joined the hard lucid run, and she got the
Mhm.
weapon drop on her first run, of course.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
and she spent, I don't know, like 600 mil to get it to a legendary, and then she used a total of 12 red cubes, and she rolled a double prime 3-line attack. She got
Oh man.
36, yeah, on like 12 cubes.
Oh.
So she had like a
Oh, that's
12
so
star,
good.
36% attack like weapon on the day of the first run. So like,
It's less
Jesus,
than a bill. Nice.
yeah, way less than a bill. Yeah, that's like
Oh, that's sweet.
end game
Oh
for
man.
people that, yeah. I mean, and the worst part is like she wouldn't really put it to use, you know, because it's like she's like on a bowmaster on the side, and she doesn't even know what arrow blaster does exactly, and but but it's like, but she's got the double prime line attack, you know. So, but you know, good for her, you know.
Lucky, no lucky.
Yep, lucky. Is there anything, if you like check through the screenshots, maybe like anything that you see that we could address, that you have any more questions about?
No, mainly like I said was just like just like I said, the feasibility and if it's the right move for me to get into arcane, which was all answered. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty good with it.
Okay.
Um, I mean, with anything else, I could also mention to my friends. So I mean, I think we have a pretty good grasp on where we need to be.
Okay.
Probably need to look into parties like to get into the harder ones. Hopefully
Yeah.
get people around our stats.
Mm-hmm. Maybe within
You
the
know,
guild, you know, if you can find a person in the guild, you find a
yeah,
person in
yeah,
your buddy
maybe.
lists, maybe you find another Kain, maybe you find someone in chat, and boom, you have 4 or 5 people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
find a Kana, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, they're gonna be like
uh,
a dying breed, like extinction event. There's a grand extinction
yeah,
event coming, so
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know, people
All
always
right,
have
well,
the high level kanas on their account, so they'll
yeah.
exist. Good luck finding another Kain. Full Kain party, just 6-man Kain party.
Oh,
Ditch
man.
your
Yeah, I've
Adele
seen some
friend to get
videos on
into.
YouTube with like 6-man jets, and I'm like, oh, that's crazy. Everybody's
Yeah,
just on
I
the
got
roof
invited
like
for
that.
like a 6-man black mage arc, like 6 arc black mage run for once the practice mode comes out, to do one of those.
Oh, that'll be fun.
That'll be
Just
interesting.
everybody going into their iframe. That's just
Yeah, just like, okay, and burst, and it's like nothing's going on. Everyone's just hanging there. The boss is like,
everyone's just
where the
standing
fuck do
still.
I go? Just start slamming your familiars because they're the only thing you could target at that point. Yeah. Yeah. Well, if anything else comes to mind that's you think is pretty in depth or something, hit me up on Discord. But otherwise, you know, you can always find the commands in the chat, or ask in the chat whenever I'm live, and I'll take all the time I can to answer all the questions. So
No worries. Thank you again. Great help.
yes, you're very
This will
welcome.
be on YouTube, yeah?
Yeah, I'll upload it on YouTube in a bit, and
Say
you'll
that.
see it before the end of the day, so you can share it with your friend and laugh at it together and listen to your own voice. That's always fun for most people to hear
Yeah,
what
it's
they
very
sound like.
cringy. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. It's very cringy.
You never hear
All right.
yourself
Well,
like
thank
that.
you again.
Yeah, you're welcome,
Thank
and
you.
I wish you best of luck with everything, and I'll see you around.
All right. I'll see you, man.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Okay. So, if you're in a similar position, hopefully it gave you some tips during this session on how you can move forward and move out of some things you might be stuck with. We didn't get super in-depth with many of the systems, because I feel like he had a decent grasp on all of the things already. And of course, if you don't, you can always use the channel commands up there and look up anything you might need. There's about 200 commands in there with tons and tons of information that is staying up to date as much as possible. And you can always use that whenever I'm online or offline. You can always use those things over on twitch.tv/Scardor. If you would like one of these sessions, make sure you check the description of the video. And if you would like to win one for free and you have the patience of a saint of at least another month, then make sure you check that you leave a comment saying that you would like to win, including your Discord name, and I might hit you up at the end of the month and telling you that you won. Other than that, I hope you guys like the other videos I'm putting out around Destiny. I'm in the test server not right now, but like today and in the upcoming days. So if you want to see some stuff, make sure you tune into the live stream and let me know what you would like me to check. I have limited abilities. I can't like check every skill for every class, but I can maybe make some magic happen. So let me know if there's stuff that you'd like to see. Other than that, I thank you for watching the video and hope you have a great whatever you're doing and a great rest of your day. And I will see you either in the next video or live on stream. I stream every day over on Twitch, so feel free to jump in whenever you have some time. Bye. Ba, 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 ba.